All right, I call this hearing for the Archaeological Review Committee of Thursday, February 4th, 2021 to order. May we have the roll call, please?
Yes, you may, Mr. Chair. Derek Pierce,
Present.
Jake Ivey,
Present.
Derek Prince. Did I call you already? Yeah, David Eck,
Present.
Dale Zinn,
Here.
and Courtney is excused. So we have a quorum, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. The next item is approval of the agenda. Staff, anything to add to what we have on paper?
No, Mr. Chair, I do not.
Committee?
I'm
Oh,
fine.
Mr. Chair, when the time comes, I'm going to recuse myself from the third case, but I think we'll still have a quorum, yes?
Yes, sir, we will.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
I move for approval of the agenda.
I second that.
Moved and seconded. Let's have a roll call vote, please.
Let's see. Derek Pierce,
Aye.
Jake Ivey,
Aye.
Dale Zinn,
Aye.
David Eck.
When we have more than a quorum, normally I don't get.
Oh, you don't vote. Okay, all right, thanks. Okay, the motion passes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. Next item, approval of minutes of January 18th, 2021. We have the minutes in the packet. Committee, do you have anything to say? Let me start with Member Ivy.
I have no comment.
Thank you, sir. Member Zinn.
I have no comments, sir.
All right. Member Pierce.
No comment.
I will join that consensus and say we are ready to entertain a motion.
Move for approval of the minutes from the last meeting as submitted.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Let's have a roll.
Okay,
call, please.
Derek Pierce.
Dale, half your
Jen.
face has disappeared.
Okay.
That's how I am these days.
Dale Zinn, you vote,
Yes.
and Jake Ivey.
Yes,
Yeah, it passes unanimously.
All right. Thank you. Matters from the floor. Do we have anyone in attendance besides those who are already looking at us?
No, there are no other attendees.
All right, then we constitute the floor. If anybody has anything, speak now or forever hold your peace.
until next meeting.
All right, item F, new business. Case number 2021-3100. Ron Winters, agent for Chuck Stebbin, requests approval of an archaeological reconnaissance report for a lot split of 3.119 acres at 1122 Old Santa Fe Trail in the Rivers and Trails Archaeological Review District. Nicole, you have provided us with a staff report. Is there anything you wish to expand upon before we proceed?
No, Mr. Chair, I provided the code sections specific to the Santa Fe Trail because it comes up a little bit less. And then the information on how to place an easement or what the language would be on a plat if that was going to become a condition or anything like that for your all's discussion.
Thank you. And I note in your staff report that you point out a small discrepancy in acreage. We will address that in a minute when we ask the presenter to speak. So if there's nothing else, Nicole, I will ask that the acting presenter be sworn in. We'll need name, address, your title how it is that you represent the presenter and the owner?
Sure. So, yeah, I'm Lisa Cooley. I am Ron Winter's wife. He is out of the country right now and just asked me to pinch it for him. I am not an archaeologist. He promised me that you'll all go very easy on me. So, yeah.
Lisa,
And I'm sorry, what was
may I swear you in? May I swear
Yeah.
you in? Okay. Under penalty of perjury, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
And thank you, Lisa. You may speak if you have additional information you wish to offer immediately, or you can wait to respond to questions, whatever your preference.
Okay, so he left some notes, and I can just read through those notes if you would like, or wait until let you go first. Tell me what your preference is.
Normally, he speaks to what he believes to be important additional information before we proceed.
Okay, super. So I'll just kind of go through his notes. Although LA 101-160 and LA 101-162 are shown on the NMCRIS map server as intersecting the project boundaries, this is not the case. As with the majority of sites in the archaeological review districts, the map server does not accurately depict the site boundaries. No evidence for the two sites were found within the project boundaries. That was point number one. Would you like for me to continue through all of it or stop for discussion?
You can proceed. I believe he had a statement to that general effect somewhere in the report, but keep going.
Okay. Archaeological survey revealed that a continuation of previously recorded site LA 159096 lies within the southwest portion of the project parcel. The artifact assemblages and age ranges are the same as on the adjacent parcels. The site was not considered eligible for National Register status in its previous recordings.
All right. Noted.
Item 3. The survey also revealed 3 previously documented but not recorded segments of the Santa Fe Trail. That is LA 191-166, 198-024, and 198-0. I feel like that must be a typo because they both say 198-024.
198-025.
There you go. Okay, thank you, sir. LA 191-166 is a continuation of the trail segment on the adjacent property to the west. These trail segments were all documented by Patel and Tiggs in their 1991 report, but were not recorded in detail. Item 4, the client lives out of state and will provide an official plat showing the Santa Fe Trail segments within conservation easements when he returns to Santa Fe in the near future. This will occur before any development is planned for the property. The archaeologist will provide the city and the ARC with an accurate aerial map of the property showing the trail ruts. Unfortunately, the aerial on file at the city does not accurately depict the Santa Fe trail ruts on the property. And then the last, he just gave me instructions to write down in detail any comments that you had.
All right. Thank you for that. I guess now we will move to committee members. May I begin with member Zinn?
Yeah, I don't have any comments. I do want to make sure that Ron mentions to his clients about the possibility of tax credits for protecting those for those elements of protection where you protect a trail easement, and just to let him know that his owner know that that's available, state income tax credits.
Got it.
Otherwise, no comments.
All right, thank you, Dale. Member Ivy?
Actually, I have no comments either, but I did have a question. In fact, looking at this, the first illustration there, the photograph, the aerial, I can see that the wagon road remnants are marked in green, etc. What's the red rectangle?
That's the lot. This is the actual property.
The actual lot being surveyed here.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I could interject, the green lines on the map, I believe, and Lisa can correct me if I'm wrong, those represent what the city had in its database, not what Ron found on the ground. If you look at some of his other figures, his wagon tracks are in slightly different places.
Yes. Thank you for pointing that out. And to expand upon that, we should use these currently visible on your screen green lines purely as suggestions for the general location and orientation of actual ruts that have been documented on the ground.
Okay,
And
We had discussion about this a few months ago where we discovered that the registry orientation and variable scale and possibly even projection datum are in question because we find that there are discrepancies almost everywhere. So, Member Pierce, would you continue, please?
Yeah, well, yeah. Actually, my only question relates to that. If we could take a look at the report, page 56, I think it is. I think that's the original report number, not a packet number. It's a graphic that shows the location of those tracks a little bit better, as recorded by Mr. Winters, not from the database.
give me just a few moments to pull that up because my
Sure.
internet connection was slow. Let's see.
And we are treading on sort of new and different ground here because typically we do not display such data to the public.
You know, you're right, Mr. Chair. Perhaps it's not necessary. If Lisa is looking at that graphic, I don't know that everybody else needs to.
Yeah, so unfortunately, page 56 doesn't have a graphic, so there seemed to be a question about the report number versus the package number. So if somebody can help me navigate or give me a figure number or something like that.
It doesn't have one.
It's supposed to be figure 23. It does not.
Yeah.
I got it.
So it's
Yeah.
immediately after 22.
Got it.
Well, the point of, or the question I was leading up to was that I think it's wonderful that the landowner has agreed to put conservation easements over these tracks. That's to be commended. But I am curious how access to that southern track that they're about to create is going to be, how it's going to be accomplished, right? It seems like it's going to be landlocked. The easements will take up a fair part of the parcel. So I'm just wondering if you know what the plan is and how to access that tract.
So how will people access the, yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, I unfortunately do not have the answer to that question, but I am delighted to write down the question and it sounds like maybe Nicole has an answer.
I have maybe an answer. So I think that he's willing to like not provide like necessarily public access to it, but to preserve it, you know, like with the easement language and formally document it on a plat. And then in terms of the building envelope, he'll just build closer to the existing house in that kind of open area that provides him enough room for the building that he wants to create. And then the driveway will come around kind of to that northwest side of the house through that area.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering is in order to access the new parcel he's creating, he's probably going to have to put that driveway through his own property, the remaining part of it.
Yeah, and he intends to keep all of the property. There's a renter in the house that exists on the property. And then he and his wife would like to retire to the new home that they plan to build on that building envelope.
Very good. Yeah, I was just concerned about them building a whole new street essentially to access this from some other point. And
Yeah.
that would be difficult.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I had. Thank you for clarifying that.
All right. Thank you, Member Pierce. At this point, you can channel Ron sighing because he knows I'm going to start talking and I won't shut up.
I'll just smile. Don't worry.
Keep going. You're doing good. I'll try to do it slowly so you can write all this down.
Super.
Just to note too, sorry, excuse the interruption, but this is recorded and can be accessed on the city's website if for some reason you need to review what was said during the hearing.
Super. If my notes aren't good enough.
Yep. But I'll slow down my normal pace of jibber jabber and try to actually use real sentences. First comment is on page 23. That is table 2.
Okay.
And I apologize for the telephone ringing in the background if you can hear it. The very first entry in that table, LA 38648, is for a site that occurs in the online NIMCRIS database and map server as located in Pecos, New Mexico. The reason it's in this table is it was incorrectly used in a previous iteration of survey. The number of the site number itself is not applicable to this situation.
Okay.
The site number that should be listed is
Okay.
191152,
Okay.
which is the site number that was assigned to the incorrect attribution of a previous site form to the previously mentioned site number.
Okay.
And related to that is that recording that used that site number was made by Ron Winters on the adjacent property.
Okay. So he cited his own previously cited item incorrectly.
Perhaps he just got bitten by his text on hand that used a site number that has been declared
Okay.
defunct, etc.
Got it.
Same table. Entry for LA 101209.
I'm sorry, 100.
Oh, it's 101
Got it.
209.
Got it.
Santa Fe Trail wagon ruts.
Okay.
That is on the immediately adjacent property, and its northwestern limit is the property line, the current survey.
Okay.
Normally, we expect that sites that are adjacent to and or might be in the area of effect for the current survey be obtained prior to the fieldwork so that everyone knows what to expect.
Okay.
And this is important because that site very likely is associated with both of the newly designated site numbers that he has provided.
Okay. So I just want to make sure I understand. So the direction is he should obtain the full. I guess I'm just trying to understand what the direction is. Make sure I get that down right.
He should get that site form and inspect it in detail.
Okay.
At that point, work with the Archaeological Records Management section to determine if he should use that site number, should use his own previous site number that he was apparently unaware of, or if he should assign 2 new site numbers as he has done so far.
Got it. And I'm sorry, he is working with who on whether he should use the same site number with the archaeological?
Records Management section of Historic Preservation Division.
Got it. Okay.
Related to that, I'll move on to page 36. The mention of LA 191166 here and its associated documentation in this report does not completely address the overall definable dimensions of site LA 191166, in that it already exists in the system as being a very short segment on the adjacent property. And by the addition of this portion, that site boundary should be expanded via site update, as opposed to create a new small shape that represents only part of the site in question.
So 191166, the site boundary should be expanded rather than establishing a new site. Did I get that right?
He did not establish a new site. He
Okay.
merely recorded a new piece of the same site on a form that so far does not completely incorporate acknowledgement of the fact that it already exists with real dimensions on the adjacent property. It at least does not do so in terms of a map that shows the overall site.
Okay.
And I will allow Member Pierce to butt in here at any moment if I start misspeaking regards the Archaeological Records Management section, because he is the director thereof.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. But no additional comments.
All right. Then corollary to that are the site forms for all of these sites. And I mean, all of them. So we already addressed LA 191166. It really needs to have a site map included in both the report and the site form that shows its true overall characteristics, dimensions, and how it fits on the landscape with this property and the adjacent property. Similar to that, LA 159096, which is a historic trash scatter that apparently everyone agrees is not significant, but the same difficulties apply. What we have are depictions of 3 pieces of the same site on 3 different pieces of paper to my estimation, 3 different scales of presentation, and somewhere, and I would suggest the site form at least, there needs to be a map that shows the whole site in terms of its updated characteristics and placement on the landscape with property lines, etc., indicated.
Okay. Okay.
And then the 2 new sites, LA 198024 and 198025. Pursuant to the discussion he will have with the Archaeological Records Management section about how to most appropriately designate these Santa Fe Trail segments as either new sites, as he has begun here, or as parts of existing sites, then what he needs to do will be a variable. If indeed they are thought to be most appropriately documented as additional parts of existing site or sites. We'll need a full site update showing the whole thing that is being described on all ownerships with all property lines indicated, so that there's one place in the most recent documentation for a reader to see what is there, how it fits with the universe, and how it might impinge upon their reason for looking in the records. For instance, someone on the adjacent property, if they don't know that the site that they might hit is the site that has been documented herein, life is difficult for them if they don't have all of the information easily available. Whether one is a lumper or a splitter is not my purview to decide. Just wanted to point out that I think it is a bit of a uneven situation at the moment, in that we appear to have handled one previously recorded site in one way and another, and maybe have created two new sites that we might not need.
Okay.
And as helpful background for all that, if the city of Santa Fe could make available to Ron the 1951 aerial photo, one can see a whole host of alignments on that map that aren't recorded by Patelatigas, aren't documented by current archaeological forms and maps, some of which may still be visible in places, but may or may not. But as he said, he made a concerted effort to try to find all these alignments. And the best guide for those alignments is the oldest, best aerial photo you got. Because I think, but I can't prove because I'm not standing on the ground, that the swale along the southern property line of this property and the adjacent property that he surveyed a few years ago is another trail segment. It certainly looks like it on the aerial photo. On that 1951 aerial photo, all of the things he's documented show up very, very clearly. And it may indeed help him to see how things relate one to the other if he could refer to that photo before even perhaps having the conversation with Arms as to how to handle the documentation of what presents on this piece of property. And that, I think, is all. Nicole, you're muted. You're muted.
I was just going to say that Leonard Padilla, who works in City of Santa Fe GIS, would be the person to contact to request the aerial photograph.
Okay, super, thank you.
So with all of these moving parts, I'm open to any and all means of proceeding, but committee members, what do you wish to do here? Do you wish to try to craft a lengthy motion to approve with conditions to be determined, or do you want to just table until a date certain and let all this sort itself out so that it's clear and concise when it comes to us?
Mr. Chairman, I understand what you're trying to get to is a holistic approach, and I think that's probably the way we ought to go, is to table for a date certain until we can get a determination, I guess, from Member Pierce's office about how they want to handle this. And I think that would be constructive for the record in the future.
Yeah.
So I would
It
so
certainly
move.
won't take long. Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
I was
that's
going to say that it won't take long to make that decision, but will Ron be back in time to have that discussion and make changes before the next meeting? Or do we need to postpone farther?
I believe he will be. The next meeting is in a month.
It's a month from now, yes, give or take. Okay, thank you for letting us know that. So with that in mind, I would second Member Zinn's motion.
All right, moved and seconded, and the date in question is, for the record, March.
March 4th.
All right. So we have the skeleton of a motion there. I guess we can have comment from anyone else who's here who wishes to speak. If we have an audience, they need to raise their little digital hand to ask a question, make a comment.
There are no attendees.
So I call the roll.
Please do.
Dale Zinn,
Yes.
Derek Pierce,
Aye.
and Jake Ivey.
Aye.
It is unanimous, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And Lisa, thank you very much for making the presentation, and I hope you got all that, but you can always look at the recorded agony later if you need to.
I was very relieved to hear that there will be a recording. I did my best, but hopefully nothing is lost in translation. I thank you all for your patience with me.
This is on YouTube as well, so.
Yeah. Mr. Chair, I'd like to let Lisa know that when Ron returns, please have him just contact me directly in my official capacity. All of ARMS is working remotely, but I have access to everything we'll need from here. So it's probably best if he contacts me directly.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Case number 2021-3101, Office of Archaeological Studies. Agent for Volt Incorporated for Cablecom requests approval of an archaeological monitoring plan for subsurface conduit installation along Monte Sereno to Avenida Rincon in the Suburban Archaeological Review District. We have a staff report. Thank you, Nicole. Anything city needs to add?
Nothing to add, no.
All right, and we have to make this presentation, Ms. Stinson, and I am sorry if I blew it because I honestly don't know what your title is. If I should call you Dr. Stinson, please correct me.
Oh, it is doctor, but I don't go by that typically, so you're right in line. Perfect.
Line, but I'm okay. Okay. We'll need to swear you in.
Under penalty of perjury, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you, Susan.
For the record, Dr. Stinson is with the Office of Archaeological Studies. Are you the Assistant Director?
Exactly. Deputy Director. Yep,
Deputy Director?
exactly.
So, Dr. Stinson, take it away. If you need to tell us something, please do.
The only thing that I would like to, it's a small correction in the appendix in one of my figures. And this would be the only thing that I would add at this point, but A2, so it's page 65 of the report. I mean, the plan, excuse me, the plan.
Okay.
And I have realized that in freehanding my 100-meter border that's in yellow, the north, west, and south lines, so that exterior line, it needs to be moved in just a little bit to match the eastern boundary. The eastern boundary is correct for what 100 meters would be, and I just, as I'm looking at this, it's not symmetrical.
Okay.
But that's the only other thing I'd have to add at this time.
Very good. Members, Member Ivy.
I have no comment on this.
Thank you, sir. Member Pierce.
Yeah, just a couple of quick comments. On report page 45, Second paragraph is discussing Steve Post recordation of LA 127575.
Yes.
And it says that he believed that that act had exhausted the information potential and the site was therefore no longer eligible. I'm curious if you know if anybody at the SHPO's office, if you have concurrence on that eligibility determination.
No, other than the fact that they approved, his report without modification or change to that. But no, I don't have any direct personal communication based on that statement that would confirm it.
Okay, well, that likely answers the question. If they found it otherwise, they would have recommended some change for mitigation, I'm sure. So the only other thing I have is, I think from previous meetings, my feeling about the efficacy of monitoring boring are well known, so I won't belabor it. But in this case, it looks like there's ample opportunity to do pedestrian survey ahead of the boring. So I would strongly encourage that because it's going to be the best look you will get at this plot of ground. So.
And although, so the formal survey that was included as part of this plan does just cover that one small section that's mostly county, a little bit of city land. And during the process of that, and actually in recording all of the different pedestals and boxes that they're going to be tying into, we did do an informal survey. So although it's not written in here, we have done an informal survey of essentially the entire route, including the aerial portion where they're not even going to touch the ground. And that section along Ridgetop is there's a small trail that runs right along there. It seems to be a walking trail. There was actually no evidence that we found of any cultural material. So we didn't stray off of what would be the boring path to any extent. Mm-hmm. But at least there is that bit of knowledge that we have.
Thank you. That's reassuring. That's all I had. Thank you.
All right. And I only have one thing, and it's a minor quibble. On figure 3, the extreme north end of your project, I see an interesting little, I don't know, tilde looking shape going off to the northeast. And yet on figure 1, it shows abrupt straight line termination at the intersection with a road whose name I can't read. Monte Sereno?
It is Monte Sereno Drive, yes.
So is the difference in depiction just an accident of scale, or is it that part of what's on figure 3 isn't really included in the project, or should it be on figure 1?
No, you're right in that the top portion of figure 3, so that extra section that you're seeing in the photograph, is simply a product of the photograph. These were images provided to us by Volt that they recorded their project area on in terms of where the bore line is going to go. But there is no actual bore line above what you see on figure 1. It's just extra photo, extra land.
Excellent. That completely answers the question. So I am done. And do we have anyone in attendance who wishes to chime in with opinion, question, or other input for this before we entertain a motion?
There are no attendees.
All right. Then will someone take a shot at a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I move that we approve case 3101, archaeological monitoring plan for conduit installation at Monte Sereno Drive, with no corrections, I believe.
I second.
Moved and seconded. We can have the roll call.
Bill Zinn,
Yes.
Derek Pierce,
Aye.
Jake Ivey.
Aye.
It is unanimous.
Thank you, Carl. So Nicole is going to bow out, kill the video, and otherwise disappear.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, I am as well, so I'm going to go dark for a bit.
All right.
Thank you all.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Dr. Stinson.
Give me one moment, and once everybody quits changing, I can make Angela the host. Angela, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good. I'm trying to find my picture, but
Angela will conclude the meeting with Daniel in tow. And thank you. See you all next month.
Yes,
Thanks, Nicole.
So our next item is G on the agenda, old business, case number 20203016. Wonderstone LLC, agent for Zia Station LLC, requests approval of an archaeological survey and inventory for the Zia Station development at Zia Road and St. Francis Road in the Rivers and Trails Archaeological Review District. We have a staff report. Thank you, staff who have disappeared. And since there's probably nothing any other city staff want to offer, hearing none, I will move on to Mr. Gallison, who handled the presentation last time. If you wish to make any presentation this time, we'll have to swear you in again.
Hello,
Yes, Jim.
you can hear me?
Yes, sir.
I guess my picture didn't show up, but I'm ready to be sworn in. Yep.
All right.
Under penalty of perjury, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
And for our record, could you state your position, relationship to the project?
I work for Wonderstone, and I added some additional comments to the report in the new addendum.
All right, and we can see you now. So if you have nothing specific to say, we'll move to committee members to either ask questions or hold forth on whatever. So member Zinn.
I have no questions on the updated materials.
Thank you. Member Ivy.
I had no comments on this either.
Okay. I have no further questions or comments other than to say thank you very much for updating this information. It really puts a better package together, and I don't think there's any question that this is a complete and final document, and we can have a motion.
I move for approval as submitted of case 003101 as submitted.
That's case number 3016 of
I'm sorry.
2020.
Oh, that goes back to 2020. Why am I? Oh, yep. All right, never mind. Whatever you said. That's what I moved.
For the record, it's case number 20203016.
Okay, let's do that one.
So we are ready for a roll call vote.
Is there a second?
There wasn't a second yet.
Derek Pierce is recused, right?
Yes.
Okay, Dale Zinn?
Did it get a second?
I didn't
Yes.
hear.
Yes.
Okay, all right, Dale Zinn? You vote
Yes.
yes. Jake Ivy
Aye.
and Chair Eck.
Aye.
It is unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you, committee.
Thank you.
Thank you for attending, sir. We now have item H on the agenda, administrative matters and communications. So Angela, Daniel, anybody who has any knowledge of anything administrative that we need to hear about?
not related to archaeology, no.
Oh, but if we need to hear.
Well, we need to hear it.
All right, committee members, item I, matters from ourselves.
I have none.
No announcements, no worries, no scheduling conflicts.
Not a bit.
Okay. Then
Mr. Chair, I'm back and I have nothing either.
I'm glad you're back. And have nothing. So we are, amazingly enough, on an agenda that now has an item Jake. So
Hey,
normal,
Is that my cue?
that is.
it's
I
cute.
move that we adjourn.
I second.
Moved and seconded, just roll call it, and
All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries.
Carl, cut to the chase. All right, folks,
Well
we're
done.
out of here.
Thank you, Carl. Good to see you.
Trigger.
Good to see you too. Thank
Good
you.
to see you, Angela and David too.
And Angela
Likewise.
also.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you all.
Bye. We're out of here.
I guess I push end.
That should do it.